Now, Judge Nompumelelo Gusha will this morning resume proceedings in the R25-million Nulane criminal trial. The second state witness returns for further cross-examination. Shadrack Cezula is under oath, testifying as a Free State government insider for the Agriculture Department. His implicated former head, Peter Thabethe, another former head, Dr. Limakatso Moorosi, and CFO Seipati Dhlamini. Newzroom Afrika's Erin is in court. Erin, good to speak to you. Cezula could have been an accused in this case. He's a witness, but he's not yet in the clear. Can you tell us why?
I can, and Lungisani Daniel Mancha for former department head Peter Thabethe underlined this point during extensive cross-examination yesterday into the afternoon, and that is that Cezula needs to be honest with the court, including implicating himself in wrongdoing. He conceded that there were problems with the deviation which the Free State government arranged in October of 2011 for Nulane Investments to be added to the system, and if he isn't honest, and if the Judge Nompumelelo Gusha finds that she's dissatisfied with his input, he won't be in the clear. So Mancha claimed that Cezula was here to try and save his own skin. He's insistent that he's not, that he weighed up his options after engagements with a Hawks investigator who approached him and said that he was named in the indictment, and decided to go with being a Section 204 witness. So the stakes are pretty high for him, even though he's not a criminally accused amongst the 6 people sitting in court day in and day out as this criminal trial proceeds.
I know all about criminal trials. Well, Erin, he's one of 35 witnesses for the defense, if you will. What do we know about the others?
Well, we know that Hawks investigator Tolo is amongst those names of 35 people. We've had 2 of the persons on that list so far. We've also got 2 representatives from the firm Deloitte, one of whom is expected in the coming days. There are representatives from various banks, including the Bank of Baroda, which we know is one of the banks the Gupta family used for certain accounts. Nedbank is on there as well. We've heard about Nedbank already. And, of course, payments are critical here, as we understand the flow of that almost 25 million rand at issue. And there are also investigators, people working for the ID of the NPA, that special unit established by the President in 2019 for a tenure of 5 years. It's now been made permanent, and arguably, at the moment, this is the most prominent case of state capture before the courts in trial phase. This is a small amount, 25 million rand, but of course the feasibility study being discussed here was the trigger, the sort of impetus for what became that bigger Estina project, where you're talking about hundreds of millions of rand allegedly looted. And so some of the evidence here is likely to come up again, including if those Gupta brothers, the trio of Gupta brothers, are ever in the dock in South Africa.
And finally, Erin, 2 numbers for us to remember: 6, and that's those that stand accused, and 2, the number of companies. What's at stake?
Well, for them, it's whether or not they're going to be sentenced after we hear evidence and there are proceedings in this matter, and, mulcted with their criminal sentence and time behind bars. You know, we hear that term orange overalls time and again, people clamoring for some kind of accountability for alleged state capture, corruption and fraud. And so the future, the well-being, the freedoms of those 6 accused is at jeopardy here. If their counsel are able to prove that they are not liable, that they weren't guilty of criminal crimes, criminal misdemeanors, they'll be in the clear. But we're not talking about civil proceedings here. We're talking about a criminal trial. The stakes are incredibly high, and they include being incredibly high for Cezula as someone who's implicated on his own version in wrongdoing. He's insisted that he was under incredible pressure, that there were all sorts of anomalies and peculiarities about how things proceeded in October 2011 onward in terms of the Free State government, and it's incredibly important that we get the versions of the accused here, and some of that is likely to come through from 9:30 onward this morning, when their counsel continue with cross-examination of Cezula throughout today.
Erin Bates, appreciate your time, and we'll be crossing back to you a little bit later on.